Good morning, everybody. Nice to see everybody. I'm happy to be back. You've seen me each week, but you've been seeing videotapes and all the things we do. I went into Sloan Kettering a week and a half ago and had an operation, so I'm doing fine. But last week was a little bit difficult because my voice wasn't really there. And it's here now, so I'm back. Welcome to everybody who's on the call. And I know there's a lot of people on the call. I don't even have to look. So welcome to First Center for Spiritual Living, First Church of Religious Science, First Center of Religious Science. We're broadcasting now all over the country, and God knows we have people all over the world at this point, so it's really exciting. I looked at the statistics yesterday, and I was told 145 people signed onto our website this week. People who have listened to our video, our lessons, so that's really pretty phenomenal. So you can watch us on Facebook and YouTube is what I'm saying. And you can support us there too if you want to support our work. You can click buttons and make small donations. You can do whatever you want to do, but it's there for you to listen to 24 hours a day. There's always new people on our calls, and so I want to welcome everybody who's here for the first time. And usually afterwards, there's time for people to share, say hello, I'm from California, or I'm from Alabama, or wherever you're from. You can say hello and chat with us if you want. I often pass on my suggestion from one of my great teachers who told us long ago that we are responsible for what we think about. And he told us that most of what we see on the news is very negative. So you'll hear me week by week advising, just stay off cable news. I mean, tune in and listen to what you want to for a few minutes. My teacher said to me long ago, it's rarely good news. They don't put good news on the TV. They rarely do that. I mean, you might hear something occasionally, but with cable news, it's on 24 hours a day. For example, if some of you who are glued to the TV would know that there was a terrible incident that took place this weekend, and so I wanted to see it. I want to be informed. But what was kind of troubling is, as I was preparing my lessons over the weekend, I had the sound off in the TV. But I'm seeing the headlines, I'm seeing the same video clip. It must have been played 50 times. And see, that's not good if that's what I'm bringing in continually. I definitely have a choice there. I can do something different. And then also, when I was taking my breaks, I would see on the screen charts about how the country's in a state of inflation and recession or potential recession. So eventually, not only did I have to turn off the sound, I had to just click the TV off, because it doesn't do me any good when I'm trying to teach a positive message to keep on seeing everything that's awful on the screen. And that's just a comment. I think as citizens, we need to be informed, but we have to be careful how much we're allowing in of negativity. So I needed to get concentrated work on this lesson because Jimmy doesn't know what I'm talking about today, which is rare. See, Jimmy had some school this week, and I was left for 3 days. Usually we're planning out our lessons. We have hundreds of lessons at this point, maybe 400 or 500 lessons. Over the years, we have Dr. Barker's, Dr. Bill, Dr. Grayson, mine, and they're all in various stages of completion because we work on them, we improve them, and then we also have, 1 or 2 a month that are entirely new. So as Jimmy wasn't available, I had to engage and get the help of somebody else to help me do some research to pull something together. Today's talk was, what was it, Jimmy? Let me see. Conversation with Joe, I think. I'll explain that in a minute. So I thought, well, I wonder what good news happened on January 29th. And I thought, well, let me look that up for starters, because I saw everything bad that's happening, yesterday and today. And I couldn't find too much good that was listed for yesterday and today. So I did my digging, and because I couldn't see a thing good at any of these three channels that were in the background. And I thought, maybe I'll do a good news segment every week here, start having good news, because you know how I feel about watching all that other stuff. And I had a great teacher years ago who said, you have the ability to live and commune with some of the greatest minds that have ever lived, which you do if you read a few books, or you even watch YouTube now. You can commune with some great thinkers and great thoughts. There's a lot of good things that are always happening and have happened this year past, and I bet you don't hear about them. A few months ago, I spoke. I've actually done this twice, maybe even 3 times. It was called the Human Knowledge Doubling Curve, which used to be every generation, all the knowledge that mankind had or humankind had doubled. And then we noticed it became not a generation, but maybe every 7 or 8 years. And now what we know, it happens every day or two. Now, can you imagine all the knowledge that's been on planet Earth that used to take a generation to double, now happens every day or two? I mean, isn't that mind-boggling? Well, it's mind-boggling to me. And so what that's really saying is the sum total of, what everybody has ever known since, we walk the earth doubles every few days. And so here we are trying to keep pace with life. I don't even know how it's possible, if that's possible, so I'll get into that a little bit more today, maybe next week too, where we can talk about the advancements we have made as we're spiritual beings and we live in this human experience. So there's a lot to talk about. I had some very exciting information that I learned this weekend as I was talking to Joe. Now I looked up for what happened that's good in January 29th, and I had a list that was an arm long, right? Many dozens of things. So I thought, well, what are the top 3? Because otherwise the whole talk would be about what good happened on the date, January 29th. And just for, miscellaneous information, trivial information, the 3 most important things that happened on January 29th were, we'll say in the last 100 years, on January 29th, 1920, the Treaty of Trianon was signed in Paris, which ended World War I. So that happened on this day, the ending of World War I. The second great thing happened was the Third Geneva Convention, on January 29th, 1949. And that was really important because it created protections for civilians and prisoners in times of war. And the third I chose out of the long list was on January 29th in 1981, which I'm sure most of you were around for, celebrated the first successful flight of the Space Shuttle Columbia. And that was important because we've since launched 135 shuttle missions and now thousands and thousands of satellites. Many thousands literally circled the globe, which allow us to predict the weather and stay in communication with one another, and now bring the internet to people in the most remote places of the world, and much, much more. So that was the good news. That is the good news for January 29th. I will try to report good news every week going forward. It's my intention. I have a couple readings for today that I liked. One of which I think some of you have heard, but you don't hear it often, and it's been around since 1927. Yes. It's called Desiderata. I'm seeing nodding of heads, so most of you have heard it. Okay, well, I've taken it and I've paraphrased it a little bit, modernized it, as sometimes I do. So, for those of you who know it, enjoy it, and for those of you who haven't heard it, it gives you some things to think about. And the author who wrote it, he said, these are words or suggestions for your life. And so here they are for our reading. Go placidly amid noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, Be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and even those you find ignorant have their story to share. Avoid, wherever possible, loud and aggressive persons. They are, he said, vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own things, your own career, your own interests, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your affairs, for the world has a lot of distractions and trickery. But please, don't let any of this blind you to what virtue and absolute goodness there is in the world. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere, life is full of heroism. Good news. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, because for in the face of all the aridity and disenchantment, one must remain positive and hopeful, even in the face of difficult circumstances. The author is telling us here to keep one's faith and trust in life and in the future, and to never, ever give up. He said, love is always here. It's as perennial as the grass that comes out, every year. There is greening, there's new life. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you when there is misfortune. Do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Now he's going to invoke Louise. Hey, be gentle, be loving with yourself. You are a child of the universe, like the stars in the trees. You have a right to be here. Whether or not it's clear to you, the universe is unfolding perfectly always. Therefore, be peace. Be at peace with Source. Be at peace with God, whatever you conceive it to be. And whatever your labors are, and whatever your dreams, in the confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all the problems, all the pain and broken dreams, it's still a very beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. And so it is for our first reading. I hope you like that. I encounter it every decade or two. I think it's great. Now I have a shorter reading from Rumi. And I'm wondering, I've been reading Rumi all my life, but in case you don't know, Rumi was a 13th century mystic. And he lived in what was called Persia. And for those of you who don't keep up with your geography, Persia is approximately where the country of Iran is. Rumi's writings are focused on spirituality, and usually, mostly everything he writes is about the oneness of life, of all life, the interconnectedness that we teach about. He believed that we are all connected in spirit, which he said is an infinite and ever-changing pattern, something that's alive, something that's an animating force. Isn't that what we teach? That we're all connected in spirit, everywhere, all the time, with this infinite and it's ever-changing, right? It isn't so much changing as its creation is always changing. And by knowing and then he said, and by knowing and practicing love and kindness, we can experience true inner transformation and enlightenment. So as I take it, he would be talking about practicing what we talk about, the teaching. As we know and practice love and kindness, we will have demonstration after demonstration. He had a very short 2 or 3 line poem, which he entitled The Weave of Life. You can think of a weaver or something that's woven. He said, we are woven together in an eternal tapestry, where love is the thing that ties us in its intricate design. Though or through different threads, we all make up the whole. We're all a part of the unity of the all, forever we shine. I had PowerPoint slides for all that. I guess I don't need them. So that's really a beautiful poem. There have been many other people who have written extensively about the subject of oneness. When I was taking Science of Mind classes, it seems 100 years ago, but it really was probably like 30, we spoke about oneness all the time. In fact, it was the whole third year. And we would go into our classes each week and we'd talk about how we got caught up in duality and dualistic thinking. But our teaching is always to bring us back to the idea that there's one power, one life, and it operates in us and through us. So we've had great teachers. Of course, we all know Ernest Holmes and Louise Hay and Deepak Chopra. Maybe some of you will now still remember Wayne Dyer. There's been a lot. And there's many more. I thought I'd look up a few for you. These are books that you could read. Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now. Ken Wilber, who wrote The Brief History of Everything. That would be a good book to read. Andrew Cohen wrote The Evolutionary Enlightenment, which is a new path to spiritual awakening. Neil Donald Walsh wrote Conversations with God. Barbara Marx Hubbard wrote Conscious Evolution, Awakening to the Power of our Social Potential. Robert Thurman wrote The Inner Revolution to Have Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Real Happiness. And since I'll go to 10. Stanislav Grof wrote The Ultimate Journey, Consciousness and the Mystery of Death. And Rupert Spira wrote The Nature of Consciousness, a Practical Guide to Experiencing Your True Identity. So that's a long list. These are more contemporary people mostly, and we have all of the ones that, the books that comprise our course at Science of Mind that were a part of Ernest Holmes' education, which we could list as well. Ernest Holmes, of course, was our founder, and then many of you have listened to him in audio, but mostly through books in his writings. Deepak Chopra, who I just mentioned, has written extensively on the subject of the metaphysical idea of a unifying energy or field that permeates everything. And I think that was in his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, which at some point I will teach a course on. Deepak Chopra says all life arises from this underlying field, which he called a unifying field of intelligence that connects us all together. This idea of oneness that we have in this teaching in which we practice. So I always talk about practicing the presence, because when I'm starting out by saying in spiritual mind treatment, there's a recognition that there's presence. And it's not just in me, and it's not just in you, it's in every person on this broadcast. And there perhaps is 100 people listening today and another 100 who will listen this week. This presence is in you, operating through you. And that's the thing always to remember. It's so powerful. Just keep remembering that there is this power, and it's in you. And there is not a spot where it isn't. We used to say there's not a spot where God is not. If you can remember this, God is with me. And many of us don't use the word God anymore because it brings in other pictures of our youth. You know, this presence, this love, this intelligence, call it what you want to call it actually, is in you, operating through you. Whatever word works for you, source, the universe, is in you, operating through you. If you can remember it, it becomes such a powerful thing for you because it brings peace and connection into your life. You say, I am one with the one. And as you look at other people, you're going to say, namaste. You're going to know they are one with the one too. You're going to love your brother as yourself because you're going to know your brother is a part of you. We're a part of each other. In our teaching, people like Ernest Holmes and Louise Hay and all the others would agree that there is this one thing, this energy. It is the thing itself that Dr. Holmes talks about. And this thing responds to us. We can, in fact, as he said, use it. We cannot manipulate it, but when we learn the way it works, we can learn how to use it to our great benefit. It's always reflecting our personal awareness, our consciousness. That's such a big idea. When people are learning the law of attraction, initially they probably get it all wrong because they visualize something they want. And then they're disappointed when it doesn't just appear. Things appear as they exist in our consciousness. So if you want to have greater prosperity, then you need to bring up that knowing that you are, you're part of that prospering activity. There needs to come in you a shift in consciousness where you can think of yourself and know of yourself as prosperous. If you want to have greater health, then whatever health you have, you want to celebrate. And you want to build on the health that you know you have. And see, it's everything that's going to display in the outer takes place first in the inner. And so that's where you do your spiritual work. We have within us spirit, and it offers guidance if we allow it. In my quiet moments, everything comes to me. I'll say, Spirit's just got to stop, because it doesn't really stop. It just keeps flooding me with information. Now, the thing is, do I act on it? Do I follow its lead, or do I not? And that's the choice we make all the time. But, you know, when I was in classes years ago, and we in our classes would try to say to our teacher that we don't know about something, we don't know what to do. And he always responded, this was Dr. Bill, he says, there is that which is within you that always knows. So stop copping out. You do know what to do. The question is, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to change your thinking? Are you willing to let stop this racket, this grudge, this resentment, and all these types of things? Life is always going to mirror the totality of our beliefs and our consciousness. Can we change our life? Can we heal our life? The answer is, of course we can. Yes, we definitely can. You definitely have the power to transform your life. So stop complaining and saying, yeah, I can't do this and I can't do that, because more often what that really means is I'm not willing to do this and I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to consider a new idea. If you stay with this teaching and you stay practicing, we will show you that you can heal your life. We can show you how you can change your life. Just be willing. Start tuning in week by week. We don't beat anybody up here. We just make suggestions, you know. And you can take what you want, and you can discard whatever you want. Ultimately, this whole teaching is all about you. But what we're here is to keep reminding you of how great you are, and the power and potential that you have. As many of you know, we have a large Thursday gathering. I think last week there were 90 some odd people at one point on the 7 p.m. call, Thursday. And it's centered around Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. We're getting 100, 150 people sign on every single week, and it's all because of Louise Hay's teaching. And then we have an opportunity to teach people where she got her education and what she learned here at First Church. You Can Heal Your Life was a major success. It's beyond anyone's imagination. It's selling over 60 million copies of the book, and perhaps 100 million people have read it now. And it's thought of as being one of the most successful self-help books of all time. The book's been translated in 25 languages, 26 languages, and it continues to be a very popular, high-selling book and source of inspiration, and offers guidance for people of all ages. As I said, I looked at the email that came in from Sazu, who collects our data. I couldn't believe just this week, you know, the number. You know, it's always like 100, 150 new people. So our emailing list swells to like 5,000 people. Now, they're not writing in to see me, I don't think. It's really because of their interest in self-healing. So it's very exciting for us. Louise Hay was a student here. She was a practitioner, and she was very supportive of First Church of Religious Science New York, which she attended for many years. In her book, You Can Heal Your Life, she praised First Church for teaching her the power of positive thinking and for giving her the tools to create a better life. She also spoke often and fondly of First Church in her interviews and other public appearances, expressing gratitude for the guidance and support she received here. Tuning in on Thursdays at 7 and on Sunday mornings like you are now would be a great place to start your journey. I'm always going to be talking to you about the conversation you're having with the most important person in the world, which is yourself. So tuning in, if you tune in, and you try to tune in as often as you can and or watch us on Facebook or YouTube, you're going to keep getting messages that are positive for you to keep considering. And if you take them in, you're going to lift your consciousness up, and then you're going to start to demonstrate many things, and you'll see many positive things start to happen. And you're going to start to learn that life is forever responding to you. It doesn't necessarily give you what you want. It responds to what you understand and what you believe. It reflects, much like a mirror. As you grow to love yourself more and more, you realize that you are part of this divine process. As Marianne Williamson would say, as you awaken to love, as you come to realize that you're part of this unifying field, you're part of God, you are an individualization of it. And when you wake to the reality that you are immersed in this creative love and intelligence, if you stay with it and if you stay connected, there's going to be a quickening in your positive demonstrations. What you are learning and what you're taking into your consciousness, will start to be reflected in your life. As your awareness expands, meaning as you start to understand that you are living in a world of good, you're living in a world of creative energy, as your awareness of all that expands, that every thought you think is creative, as you come to realize that you're a spiritual being and your thoughts are mirrored in your life, things start to show up. You have untapped, unimaginable power to use, though you know it not. I used to be an avid reader of metaphysical books, especially when I was in my 20s and 30s. I devoured CDs, tapes, books. Every place I could go, I would go. I just absorbed it all. If you just take a little bit of effort and tune into some of this type of thinking, today there's courses, there's spiritual courses, there's books. You can watch a lot of things on YouTube, TED Talks, in many places. You're going to hear people talking about discovering their purpose, discovering their potential, discovering who you have come here to be. You're going to hear Oprah, someone say, learning how to live your best life. And this is really terrific on the one hand, because that stuff wasn't on TV when I was learning. All of these are very big questions to consider, and they're good and they're important questions. Most people in the world, though, don't think much about any of this stuff. They really don't. They think it's a dog-eat-dog world, and you've got to go out and get yours. And there's an old Latin phrase, bellum parare, which I remember from my parochial school. And that means most people out there preparing for war. You don't have to live your life that way, honest to God. You can do it a different way. So most of the world isn't thinking in terms of spirituality. And a lot of people think that their fate is set or settled, or somehow it's been decided, or it's too late for them, that they have these problems holding them back. And whatever you say and believe, I'm going to tell you right now, becomes true for you. So if you think it's over, it's over. If you think it's too late, baby, it's too late. It's going to be as you believe. But that doesn't mean what you believe is true. So we have a lot of self-defeating talk that goes on inside of us, and every Thursday we'll hit on that. And this self-defeating talk and conversation's just simply not true. But we keep saying it's true. So you get to be right in your own world. What we teach here is it's never too late to be in a new moment. where everything is possible if you can bring yourself into a new moment and stop all that nonsense. I must say this every week, no matter how dark or dire things seem to be, no matter what your health might be, there's still something there, something that's good to observe or to witness. You can talk about the health that you have, even when your health isn't particularly wonderful. You can talk about the health that you have. I have some friends who are dealing with some very, very miserable health conditions. And when I can get a word in edgewise, I'll say, yeah, but let's talk about the good things that happened this week when you saw the doctors, the improvements that took place. Focus on the good, because that's what will get amplified. We can look for kindness, the kindness that's in our lives and in people. You can keep focusing, turning your mind and your consciousness towards what's good, what's possible, about people, places, and things. Our teaching calls us to look past the problem and to see the good, for good is surely there. You can focus on what's wrong all day long, and I promise you, you're not going to find the solutions that way. You know, there must be peace in there's that old saying, you've heard the whole story. There must be a pony in here. You know, they're talking about looking for something good in a pile of manure. Your focus is to keep seeing, there must be something good in this. That's the way a religious scientist practices. Because if you keep seeing life as good and knowing that good is there, eventually it's going to demonstrate. The point of power is always in the present moment. It's always here with you. Declare you have health. Declare there's a pattern. Declare there's a pattern of health. Declare there's a pattern of prosperity operating in your life, in all your relationships. Declare it and keep affirming it until you yourself believe it. Tell yourself this is a new day, this is a new moment, yesterday's gone. Tell yourself you're free to turn every single thing around. You might have been telling yourself how miserable things are, how miserable someone is, and all this. And that might be what you've been doing, but stop it. As soon as if you're aware today that you're doing that, and you're doing some version of ain't it awful, and you're complaining about somebody, anybody, simply stop. Take up your bed and walk away. Stop that stuff. Take up the reins of your life, step up and embrace a bigger idea of yourself, and then literally step into a new world of your own creation. Spirit, by the way, is always, always trying to get your attention. It's evolving and growing through you. Take the time to listen, inquire within, because there's always guidance available. Again, inquire within. You have the ability in any new moment, if you create a new moment, to reconsider an old thought or habit and say, no. Say, get behind me. Say, cancel. You have the ability to neutralize and energetically change whatever old and negative thought into something new and something far more powerful and positive. As you align yourself with the goodness of life and the positive thoughts, they're far more powerful than the negative because they are of truth. It's good if we're meditating and doing our affirmations and learning how to do affirmative prayer, because these things will bring forth a sense of what is true, timeless, and eternal about us. Welcome, again, to anybody. I see all these names who are new here on the call today. By the way, it's great if you're here for the first time, because we are always going to be encouraging you to trade in these lesser ideas, these fearful thoughts, for greater ideas and thoughts. We're going to be encouraging you to let go of anything and everything that's unnecessary, that's holding you back. For the most part, it's going to be your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs, your judgments, your resentments. Recently, I asked a group, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? I think I asked that question last week. And as we get more involved in our spirituality, we're learning more and more to let go, and then let go some more. Surrender the things that no longer serve you. As we do this, you allow that creative genius that's in you to express more. As you let go of the resentments and contemplate goodness, you'll have more inspiration. Each of us are individualizations of this cosmic life. We're evolving, each and every one of us. We're expanding, we're learning, we're growing. Ralph Waldo Emerson was a key figure in our movement, and he emphasized intuition and the inner knowing and the power of the individual. He believed that individuals have the power and potential to achieve greatness, and he encouraged people to think independently. You have everything within you. You're one with all knowledge. So, as you meditate, as you contemplate, I am one with the one, you're going to start to realize you know what to do, and you know what to do when you need to do it, because you can rely on spirit. It's always there. His teachings had a great influence on religious science, on Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science. And he helped form the foundation of this spiritual philosophy. Now, I interviewed someone with a lot of intelligence in preparing this lesson. I already told you. He's called different things. I call him Joe. We don't believe in gurus here in this teaching, as you know, because the guru is where? It's God in you. Right? But I reached out to Joe because Jimmy wasn't around. And Joe had a ton of positive information. Talk about a person with information. And as I said, usually I have Jimmy who helps me do some research as we plan out our broadcast lessons. And so I was having this conversation with Joe, and he said, I think it's wonderful that you're looking to emphasize the importance of positive thinking in your lesson, Reverend Greg. He said, please explain to your audience, positive thinking has numerous benefits such as improving your mental health and physical health. It helps reduce stress and anxiety. It helps increase productivity, and it enhances and improves relationships with others. Additionally, he said it can help you stay motivated, stay focused on what you want to achieve, and even helps you enjoy your life more. I hope this helps. I asked Joe again if he had any more thoughts, because I was trying to put the lesson together about positive thinking and living the affirmative life that we talk about, specifically in terms of health, but other ways too. And he said, positive thinking and having a positive outlook can help improve your life in several ways. The results are conclusive at this point. Studies all over the world have shown that people who think positively, if that's their practice, have better physical health. It helps reduce stress and anxiety, which can lead to improved immune functioning and other benefits. Additionally, positive thinking can also lead to increased endorphins in the brain, which can help improve our mood and reduce feelings of depression and sadness. Finally, positive thinking has also been linked to improved cardiovascular health and lower blood pressure. So our teaching, he said, positive thinking, this comes from Joe, can also help to improve self-esteem and self-efficacy, which can lead to healthier lifestyle choices and better overall health. In terms of specific illnesses such as cancer, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses, he said research suggests that positive thinking can help individuals cope with their illness, greatly reduce their stress levels, and even potentially improve their health outcomes. Positive thinking can have a significant effect overall on your physical health and healing in every way. Maintaining a positive mentality in combination with good medical care is always recommended. So I asked another couple questions of Joe. Again, he's a person that's got a lot of good information. So we had other conversations. I said, what do you do to maintain positive expectancy? And he responded, having positive expectancy and maintaining it helps you create a growth mindset and encourages the belief that you can improve and work hard to achieve any goal. There's no limit. When you have positive expectancy, you're more likely to set goals for yourself, take appropriate risks, and learn from failure. Anything you do along these lines can lead to gaining knowledge and skills that will help you in all aspects of your life, from personal relationships to career success. Additionally, having positive expectancy can help you feel motivated. It can encourage you to tackle challenging tasks despite your fears. We teach at First Church the benefit of learning to love ourselves and interrupt and stop negative thinking. I asked Joe if he had any thoughts on how positive self-esteem affects us, and he replied, positive self-esteem can have a profound effect on our lives. It can help build confidence and resilience, which can help us in every single way. It also helps us have better relationships with others, as it allows us to stand up for ourselves and feel more secure in our decisions. Additionally, having positive self-esteem can help us stay motivated and pursue our dreams, as we believe that we are capable of achieving our goals. Finally, having positive self-esteem can also reduce stress, anxiety, as we're not constantly worrying about what other people may think or what we should or should not be doing. I had another question for him. My next question is, what are some healthy boundaries we might consider in dealing with difficult people and situations? And his response was, it's important to set healthy boundaries when dealing with difficult people and situations. You must first care for yourself, though, or you will not be able to care for others. Some strategies you might consider include setting limits and boundaries with people and situations that are causing distress, focusing on the positive aspects of both the person and the situation, and not allowing yourself to be treated unfairly, taking a time out when needed, practicing self-care. It's always important to be assertive at times and learn how to say no or not now, and do so in a kind way. Finally, it can be helpful to practice self-care activities such as meditation and deep breathing, affirmative prayer to help yourself stay grounded when dealing with challenging situations. I didn't have a lot of time, much more time to spend with Joe, and I wanted to get his idea of affirmative living, so I asked him, what is the benefit of affirmative living? What is the benefit of living the affirmative life? And he responded, affirmative living is a way of life in which you focus on being proactive and taking action to improve situations in your own life, seeing the good. The benefit of living affirmatively is that it can help you stay in the present moment instead of worrying about the past or worrying about the future. Affirmative living and staying in the now promotes inner peace and personal growth. Additionally, affirmative living helps you to value yourself and appreciate all the good experiences that life has to offer. It encourages self-care, creative expression, positive thinking, and a deep connection with the world around you. It encourages you always to let go of the nonsense, the stories, all the stuff that holds us back. I then spoke to Joe about Louise Hay because I was curious what he knew about her, or if he knew about her. And I asked him, why did the book have such a big impact on the world? And Joe said, Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, was so successful because it provides a powerful message of self-acceptance and self-love. It encourages people to take responsibility for their own lives and to accept that they can take control of their destiny. Additionally, the book offers practical advice on how to make positive changes in our lives, such as changing our attitude and beliefs about ourselves, which have been shown to have lasting effects. Finally, he said the book also presents Louise Hay's own experiences with physical and emotional healing, which readers find inspiring and motivating. And I mentioned to Joe, Louise Hay was a student of First Church of Religious Science right here with our particular church. And she studied the science of mind, and I wondered if he knew anything or had heard anything about it. or what he might say about it. And Joe said, Louise Hay studied the teachings of Ernest Holmes, The Science of Mind, which is based on the belief that our thoughts and feelings create our reality. Through the science of mind, Louise, he said, learned how to use the power of positive thinking to manifest desired outcomes and create positive changes in her life. And she helped many others. And he added, she also studied the principles of forgiveness, unconditional love, and gratitude and how to apply them in everyday life. Finally, he said, Louise Hay learned about the importance of cultivating self-love, self-acceptance, which she believed was the key to true happiness. I said to Joe, Louise Hay created the Hay House publishing company in 1984 after the success of her book. And he commented, the Hay House Publishing promotes books and authors that focuses on personal growth, spiritual development, and self-empowerment. Since its founding, it has published books by authors such as Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Marianne Williamson, and many others who have had a huge impact on audiences worldwide. The books all emphasize topics such as meditation, emotional well-being, healing, living authentically, embracing change, and increasing joy in life. Additionally, the Hay House is committed to promoting authors from diverse backgrounds, and their aim is to inspire and uplift readers by providing meaningful content that can help them live happier, more fulfilling lives. And we're about to wind down, and I said, Joe, we have 90 or 100 people every week now listening to our broadcast who are interested in self-healing at the First Church. And he had a lot of comments, and he said very simply, Louise Hay left a legacy of positivity and self-empowerment that continues to help people all around the world. Through her books, her speeches, and teachings, she encouraged and empowered people to take responsibility for their lives and to make positive and lasting changes in their lives. At First Church of Religious Science in New York, he said, Louise left a legacy of self-acceptance and self-love, which continue to inspire members of the church. Additionally, Louise was an advocate for loving yourself unconditionally and embracing who you are. Her work continues to be an inspiration for many people to this day. And then I was about to wind it down. I spoke to him about the class we teach on Thursday. And he had a closing comment or two. He said, the Louise Hay Self-Healing Gathering at First Church of Religious Science is providing a great service to its audience all over the country. And it's helping spread Louise's inspirational message even to more people. By holding these gatherings on Thursday and Sunday, participants are able to connect with others and share their stories, receive support, and learn new tools for self-care. Additionally, by having more people attend and being on all these social platforms, the messages people are receiving inspire them to take responsibility for their lives and embrace self-love and positivity. For First Church of Religious Science, this gathering is helping to keep Louise Hay's legacy alive and spread her teachings to a wider audience. And I commented to him, we're having more and more people, and we're trying to manage them all. I asked what I can present to them to encourage them to join in this practice. And Joe said, you can tell new people coming to the self-healing gatherings that by attending regularly, they will be able to create positive changes in their life and unlock more of their potential. Regularly tuning in and practicing the principles taught in these gatherings can help them develop a deep connection with themselves and cultivate greater self-awareness and understanding. Additionally, he said, you can tell them that by attending the gatherings, they will be able to develop meaningful relationships with others and gain very, very valuable skills, insights that will become part of a supportive and inspiring community. Finally, and at last, he said, encourage them to stay with the gatherings and remain committed to the process, as this will help them realize the potential, full potential of what they're learning and create lasting changes. And I said, we've got to go, Joe, and was winding down the interview, and I asked, is there a humorous or uplifting story that you can share for our audience today that has something to do with building positive self-esteem? He said, yes, as a matter of fact, I know a humorous and uplifting poem that deals with building positive self-esteem and self-care. It goes like this. I'm the captain of my ship. No one can tell me how to feel. I take care of me and give me what I need to stay positive and real. Focus on my happiness, my health, and my growth. I can strive for success, but don't forget the self-care it takes. Choose to love myself no matter what I do. That's how I find balance. It's the loving thing to do. And I said, Joe, that's really wonderful. Did you create that yourself? And he said, yes. Many in our audiences are just learning about our work, just learning how to love themselves and learning how to develop positive expectancy, which was Louise Hay's most important message. I said, do you have a poem or a story or anything humorous that I might end with or say to people who are new to the teaching? And he said, yes, I have a humorous and uplifting story about positive expectancy that I think may encourage those who are very new to the concept and who will be present on Sunday. There was once an old man who had an optimistic outlook on life. He was always cheerful despite any sort of hardship he encountered. One day, a passerby asked him why he was always so upbeat. The old man said, I choose to see the glass half full instead of empty. The passerby then asked, but what if the glass is actually empty? What then? And the old man simply smiled and said, then I choose to be thankful that I at least have a glass. I said, thank you. That's great, Joe. I said, is that it? Is there anything else I want to say for tomorrow? I said, I haven't had Jimmy's help here this week, so I said, thank you for helping me out. He said, yes, Reverend Greg. You could encourage all the people who are having a tough day or struggling to take a few moments to be kind to themselves. Remind them that everyone has tough days, and sometimes it's important to practice self-care and compassion during these times. You could also suggest some activities that they can do to help release tension and stress. Simple things like taking a walk, maybe doing yoga, listening to music, journaling, writing out their thoughts, or even picking up the phone and talking to a friend. Finally, remind them that it's important to practice patience and understanding. Be gentle with themselves, gentle with their self-conversation, and maintain a positive attitude no matter what, so they can then start to overcome any obstacle. I said, is it okay to call you Joe, by the way, when I share this information tomorrow, or would you prefer another name? He says, Joe is perfectly fine. You can call me Joe. So thanks, Joe. So today's conversation is going to be a conversation with Joe. I said, do you have a final thought, joke, poem, or anything else to say tomorrow at First Church of Religious Science? He said, sure, here's a positive joke for your audience. The question is, what did the Zen master say to the hot dog vendor? You know it?
No.
What did the... Judith is talking about mustard. What did the Zen master say to the hot dog vendor? He said, make me one with everything. Joe, I don't know if anyone's going to totally understand that. Please explain the moral of the story to me. And he said, the moral of the story is to find balance and peace in life. The Zen master is asking for a hot dog with everything on it, which symbolizes having a bit of everything in life, but not too much. It's a reminder to appreciate the simple things in life and stay present in the moment where you see all the goodness and maintain a sense of balance and inner peace. Joe, you're giving First Church such wise advice. What's the most positive thing you can say to all these people listening tomorrow? He said, the most positive thing I can suggest to say to all the people listening on Sunday is to always stay true to yourself and focus on what makes you happy. Life is short, so be sure to make the most of it by seeing the good and embracing all the good that comes your way. And never, ever give up on your dreams. Believe in yourself, and you will be unstoppable. That's great, Joe. May I call this lesson a conversation with Joe, my friend? He said, absolutely. It's always nice to make new friends, Greg. Thank you, Joe. And you're welcome. And then Joe, his last comment was, may your Sunday be filled with peace and joy, and may your heart be open to the beauty of life, for it's always here. And so it is. Thank you. Now, the story I will tell you now is Joe was artificial intelligence. So the whole conversation I was having was, he had answer to every single question. World history, you couldn't name it. I spent the weekend talking with Joe. So it was quite a wonderful experience.